If I open up the geometry, or bring the visibility of the geometry back now, I'm going to open up the animation mixer and then blend between these two clips. If I select the geo and open up a mixer by pressing Alt-0, I've already got two animation tracks ready to receive the clips, or the sources as clips. So I'll take the rest pose and I'm going to drag it down into the mixer as a clip, and I'm actually going to scale it out a little bit. So I'm just going to grab the right corner and pull it out for a duration, say, of 50 or 60 frames. I'll start it at frame 1. Actually, I don't even think I'll need that many frames because the character actually settles into position very nicely. So I'll actually make this maybe 40, or let's say actually 50. 50 will be will work very well. It'll give us a little bit of extra ramp up time. I'm going to bring in the stand and cheer and drag it down onto the timeline as well. But what I'm going to do is take the first frame of the stand and cheer. So if you look right now, there's the character, it just kind of pops in right there. I'm going to hold that first frame for a while. So if I right click on the clip and I look at the clip properties, I can control the extrapolation, what happens before the beginning frame and after the end frame. So before the first frame, I'm going to set the extrapolation to hold, and I'm going to hold the first frame for, again, maybe 50 frames, or let's say 30. So I've actually got overlap between my rest pose and the stand and cheer. We've got about a 20 frame overlap here. So now what I'm going to do is transition between the two of them. If we use one of the mix tools in the mixer, I can just do a standard transition, which of course just blends the weighted values between our two clips. And so if I do a standard transition, we get our transition effect, and we go from a standing pose blended right into our first frame of animation. We get it held for 30 frames, and then we move into the actual pose itself. So that's the way to actually blend into a cloth sequence. Again, other people will have their favorite ways, but personally I find this to be one of the easiest ways to do that. You could even use all keyframe data. If you applied the stand and cheer clip as key data and then just shifted that in the timeline and then stored keys manually with the character in bind pose, that would be another technique as well. But you can see obviously the versatility within the animation mixer. So now let's create one more cache. Well, we're going to probably create a few more caches because we're going to have to fine-tune this cloth effect now. But let's create a cache of the animated cloth effect. So I'll unhide the clothing geo, bring that back. I'll make sure that the cloth is turned on. So let's go into the cloth attributes and activate them. You can close the Explorer from underneath and just minimize that for now. And actually, I'm going to need to go back in here, and I'm going to set the cache file. So this time I'm going to set a 300 frame or 400 frame cache. I guess the last frame of my animation here is at 358. So if I go to the exercise 7 training project in the SciFlex folder, I'll call this the first test, stand and cheer. It might make sense. Well, I don't even need to specify cloth because I am in the SciFlex folder. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Again, I'm going to kind of just bow out of here with the Camtasia for a while. I'll let this cache up, and when I come back, we'll have a look and see what we can change. So I'll pin this closed and minimize the Explorer, and I'll be back in just a little bit.